When we pause to consider the body, we often think of its separate parts: the heart beating in our chest, the lungs drawing in air, the stomach digesting food after a meal. Yet beneath this surface awareness lies a deeper truth. The human body is not a collection of isolated parts, but rather a living network, an entire landscape in motion. Each cell, each tissue, each organ is engaged in a quiet, unending conversation with all the others. This continuous dialogue is what we call balance. It is not balance in the sense of stillness, like a stone that does not move. Instead, it is a balance like that of the ocean, waves rising and falling, currents flowing and shifting, yet maintaining a larger equilibrium. Within you, the body's many systems rise and fall in their own rhythms, always adjusting, always compensating, so that the whole remains steady. You may not feel it directly, but at this very moment, countless adjustments are unfolding. Your heart beats a little faster or a little slower, depending on the oxygen your body needs. Tiny muscles around blood vessels widen or narrow to guide the flow. Hormones drift quietly through your bloodstream, carrying messages from one part of the body to another. The body listens, responds, and restores, always drawing itself back into harmony. The scientific name for this quiet steadiness is homeostasis. It is the process by which the body maintains internal stability in the face of changing conditions. Yet the word itself, clinical as it may sound, masks the elegance of the reality. Homeostasis is a candle flame that remains steady despite the shifting air of the room. It is a tree standing firm while its leaves flutter and sway. It is life, continuously correcting itself, so gently that most of the time we never notice. Imagine for a moment a pond at dawn. The water may ripple with a passing breeze or with the movement of a fish beneath the surface, but soon the ripples fade and the water returns to calm. This is the body's way too. Disturbances appear: a change in temperature, a sip of water, a meal, a deep breath, and each one sends small ripples through the body's systems. Yet always, the body settles itself again. What makes this balance extraordinary is the scale at which it operates. From the smallest molecule to the largest organ, from the flicker of a nerve impulse to the rhythm of the entire circulatory system, all of it is tuned toward the same goal: the preservation of equilibrium. Cells detect changes in their environment and adjust their inner chemistry. Tissues communicate, passing signals back and forth. Organs work together in partnership, compensating for one another's needs. No system acts entirely alone. This is why balance is not only a metaphor but the very principle of physiology. The lungs exchange gases, but their work cannot be complete without the circulatory system carrying oxygen to the tissues. The digestive system breaks down food, but without the endocrine system to regulate energy storage, nourishment would scatter into chaos. The muscles contract and move the body, but without the skeletal framework to guide them, their work would lack direction. Each system contributes, and each depends on the others, weaving a web of interdependence that sustains life. Even when we sleep, perhaps especially then, this balancing act continues. The heartbeat slows, but not too much. The lungs breathe softly, keeping oxygen levels just right. Hormones drift through the bloodstream, repairing, regulating, and resetting. While consciousness rests, the body's deeper intelligence remains awake, conducting its endless symphony of adjustments. To think of the body in this way is to recognize that health is not a fixed state but an ongoing process. Balance is not something achieved once and for all. It is something maintained in every moment. The wonder of physiology is not only that each part has its own function, but that together they create an alliance, a dynamic, living system where balance is the language spoken by every cell. So as we begin this quiet exploration of the body, let us picture it not as machinery, not as anatomy laid bare on the page, but as a living orchestra. Each section has its part: the strings, the winds, the percussion, and the brass. Sometimes one plays more loudly, sometimes another falls to a whisper, but always they return to harmony. The music never ceases. It simply shifts and flows, moment to moment. Your body, even now, is performing that same symphony. An orchestra of systems in balance, a quiet physiology unfolding beneath the surface of awareness. 2. The whisper of homeostasis. The body is always in motion, though much of that motion is hidden from our awareness. Beneath the calm surface of your daily life, an endless conversation is taking place between cells, tissues, and organs. This conversation has one goal: to preserve balance. The scientific word for this balance is homeostasis. The word itself may seem precise and clinical, but the reality it describes is simple, elegant, and deeply soothing. It is the ability of the body to maintain stability within, no matter how the world outside may shift. Though the word comes from roots that mean the same and standing still, homeostasis is never truly still. It is a dynamic steadiness, like a candle flame that bends and flickers with the breeze but never goes out. The flame shifts constantly, yet its glow remains unchanged. This is how the body works. The heart beats faster and then slower. The breath deepens and then quiets. Fluids flow and are released. But within these movements lies a steady constancy. Consider the balance of temperature. Humans, like many other warm-blooded creatures, keep their inner world close to 37 degrees Celsius, or about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Step into the cool air of winter, and without asking, the body narrows the blood vessels at the surface of the skin to hold warmth inside. Muscles begin to shiver, small contractions that generate heat, almost like kindling a fire beneath the skin. Even the fine hairs on the arms lift slightly, a leftover echo from our evolutionary past, forming a thin, insulating layer. Step instead into the heat of summer, and the process reverses. Blood vessels widen, carrying warmth outward. The skin begins to sweat, and as that moisture evaporates, the surface cools, the breath quickens, and with each exhale, heat is carried away. None of these responses demand your thought. They unfold as whispers of adjustment, as if the body is always listening to the air around it and softly correcting itself in reply. Water balance tells a similar story. Each day, water enters through food and drink and leaves through sweat, urine, and even the vapor of each breath. The levels rise and fall like tides, yet the body maintains a gentle middle ground. If too much water builds, the kidneys release it in pale, diluted urine, a silent stream carrying the excess away. If too little water remains, the kidneys hold it close, releasing only concentrated drops. Thirst itself is simply the body's nudge, a quiet request for replenishment. But even when no thirst is felt, the guardianship of the kidneys continues in silence, filtering, conserving, restoring. Calcium, too, is carefully watched. Though we rarely think of it, we may associate it with bones and teeth. But calcium also makes muscles contract, nerves fire, and the heart maintain its steady rhythm. When calcium falls low, tiny glands in the neck, the parathyroids release a hormone that tells the bones to share some of their stored supply and instructs the kidneys to keep what little remains. When calcium rises too high, the thyroid responds instead, sending a message to store the excess back into bone or to release it through urine. All of this is done with exquisite precision. The fluctuations are constant, yet the balance is preserved, a quiet dance of chemistry that ensures the body's movements never falter. Perhaps most familiar is the balance of sugar in the blood, the body's energy currency. After a meal, glucose enters the bloodstream, raising energy levels. In response, the pancreas releases insulin, a messenger that guides cells to absorb the sugar and store it for later. Hours later, as energy dips, the pancreas whispers again, this time sending out glucagon, instructing the liver to release stored sugar back into circulation. The rise and fall of blood sugar could easily become a wild swing, yet instead, it is smoothed into a gentle curve. Even hunger itself is part of this system, a signal reminding you to restore what is lost. Every pang, every quiet satisfaction after eating, is simply the body's way of guiding you back toward balance. What is striking in all these examples is how many systems must work together. Temperature control involves nerves, blood vessels, muscles, and the skin. Water balance requires kidneys, hormones, and the bloodstream. Calcium regulation depends on glands, bones, and the urinary system. Blood sugar balance is managed by the pancreas, the liver, the circulatory system, and the very cells of the body. No single system works in isolation. Each listens for signals from the others, and together they form a web of cooperation. It is in this web that true balance emerges. Despite all of this activity, homeostasis is quiet. It does not announce itself with sudden movements or dramatic sensations. It works in shades and whispers, a single degree of warmth gained or lost, a breath fractionally deepened, a molecule redirected, a drop of fluid conserved. These are the small corrections that preserve life. They are easy to overlook, for they demand no conscious thought. Yet without them, the inner world would quickly drift out of harmony. The image of a pond at dawn may serve as a reflection of this process. A fish may stir the water from below, or a breeze may ripple the surface. But in time the ripples fade, and the pond returns to stillness. So too does the body, moment after moment. Every sip of water, every bite of food, every breath of air sends ripples through the body's systems. Each time, those ripples are softened, adjusted, and stilled until balance is restored once more. Health, in this light, is not a single achievement but a constant act of restoration. It is not the absence of change but the art of living within change. Balance is not found once and held forever. It is rediscovered with every adjustment, every small correction, every whisper of homeostasis. Even as you rest now, this balancing act continues. Your breath is adjusting to your position. Your heart is steadying itself in rhythm with your calm. The kidneys are quietly filtering. The glands are signaling. The cells are tending to their chemistry. All of this unfolds without asking for your attention. It happens in the background of being, so reliable that you can surrender to it. To recognize this is to see that life itself is a balance in motion. It is the candle flame flickering but never extinguishing, the pond rippling but never spilling over, the body shifting, yet always steadying itself again. Homeostasis is the whisper of life, gentle, continuous, and unending. It is the steady hand guiding you through the constant change of existence, a whisper so soft that you can only hear it when you pause to listen within. 3. The nervous system, silent conductor. The body is often compared to an orchestra, each system playing its part in the quiet music of life. If this is so, then the nervous system may be thought of as the conductor. It does not play the instruments itself, but it guides their timing, their rhythm, their rise and fall. It listens to every section, gathers their voices, and returns them to harmony. Without its leadership, the music would lose direction, drifting into noise. With it, the body becomes a symphony, coordinated and calm. At the center of this system is the brain, housed in the safety of the skull. Though it weighs little more than a kilogram, it contains billions of neurons, each one sending and receiving signals in delicate patterns. The brain is a landscape of quiet activity, its surface folding into ridges and valleys, its deep regions hidden beneath. It works not as one single organ but as many, with different parts tuned to different functions, yet always in communication. The spinal cord extends from it, protected within the vertebral column, a soft cord of tissue that carries signals back and forth like a main road, branching into countless side paths. From this core, the nervous system stretches outward through a vast network of nerves. These nerves branch and branch again, reaching to the skin, the muscles, the organs, the very tips of the fingers and toes. Through them, the body senses and responds. A change in the environment, a shift of light, a sound, a brush of the skin is detected by specialized receptors and carried inward to the brain. The brain, in turn, interprets the signal and sends its reply outward again. In this way, the nervous system acts as a great conversation between the body and the world beyond. The cells that carry these signals are called neurons, and their form reflects their task. Each neuron has a central body that holds its nucleus, the quiet chamber where instructions are stored. From this body extend branches called dendrites, reaching outward to receive signals from neighboring cells. A longer branch called the axon carries signals away, sometimes stretching astonishing distances from the spinal cord to the toes, or from the brain to the fingertips. The signals travel not as words but as small bursts of electricity, pulses that leap across tiny gaps called synapses. At each synapse, chemical messengers bridge the space, carrying the impulse forward to the next cell. Though we may imagine these signals as rapid and mechanical, their effect is both subtle and profound. A single neuron may receive thousands of signals at once, some urging it to fire, others holding it back. The cell listens, adds these voices together, and only when the sum reaches a certain threshold does it send its own signal onward. In this way, the nervous system is not a machine of simple on and off switches, but a network of balance and integration. It is as though each neuron weighs a chorus of whispers before deciding whether to speak. The nervous system has two main branches, the central and the peripheral. The central nervous system, or CNS, includes the brain and spinal cord, the protected core, where information is processed and decisions are made. The peripheral nervous system, or PNS, is the web of nerves that extends outward, connecting the central hub with the rest of the body. Within the peripheral system lies yet another distinction. The somatic branch governs voluntary actions, the choice to lift an arm, to walk, to speak. The autonomic branch oversees involuntary functions, the steady beat of the heart, the gentle movements of digestion, the widening and narrowing of blood vessels. The autonomic system itself divides into two streams, sympathetic and parasympathetic, that act in balance with one another. The sympathetic stream prepares the body for activity, quickening the heart, opening the airways, sharpening awareness. The parasympathetic stream guides the body back to calm, slowing the heartbeat, deepening digestion, encouraging rest. These two are sometimes described as opposites, but in truth, they are partners. Together, they maintain the balance of readiness and relaxation, energy and recovery, always adjusting in response to life's demands. What makes the nervous system remarkable is not only its ability to coordinate the body, but also its ability to generate thought, memory, and awareness. The same cells that carry signals to the muscles and glands also give rise to imagination, reflection, and sleep. Within the folds of the brain, neurons communicate in patterns so intricate that they create the experience of consciousness itself. Though we may not notice, every image that passes through the mind, every dream, every memory recalled, is the product of countless signals whispering between cells. Even when the body is at rest, the nervous system is active. At night, as the body sinks into sleep, the brain does not fall silent. Instead, it shifts into its own rhythms. Waves of electrical activity sweep through its networks, organizing memories, repairing tissues, guiding the body through cycles of deep rest and gentle dreaming. The spinal cord continues to send signals to the lungs and heart, maintaining their rhythm. Reflex pathways remain alert, ready to respond even if consciousness is distant. The conductor does not leave the stage, even when the music softens. One of the most humbling truths of physiology is how much the nervous system does without our awareness. You do not think about the muscles that control your pupils, yet they adjust constantly to changes in light. You do not will your stomach to churn, yet the nerves within it guide digestion. You do not direct your heart to beat faster or slower, yet the nervous system adjusts its pace in tune with your needs. These processes are not loud commands but quiet corrections, a silent conductor guiding the instruments of the body toward harmony. To sit with this knowledge is to realize how little effort is required of you to remain alive. Even now, the nervous system is working. Neurons are firing, synapses are bridging, glands are receiving signals, muscles are adjusting. The breath you draw, the pulse in your wrist, the steady calm you feel are all orchestrated by this system. It is a symphony that began before birth and will continue through every moment of life until the final note. The nervous system, in its endless quietness, is the conductor of the body's music. It listens to every section, gathers their voices, and returns them to balance. It is not seen, not felt, not noticed in its fullness, but without it the harmony would collapse. With it, the body remains whole, coordinated, and alive. It is the silent conductor, guiding the orchestra within, ensuring that the music of life plays on. 4. The endocrine system, messages in the blood. If the nervous system is the conductor of the body's orchestra, guiding with quick and precise signals, then the endocrine system is more like a poet, sending messages slowly, carried on the currents of the blood. These messages do not arrive in the blink of an eye, but instead unfold with patience, like words carried downstream. They may take seconds, minutes, or even days to reach their full effect, but once they arrive, their influence lingers, shaping the body in lasting ways. The word endocrine means secreting within. Unlike glands that release their products to the outside world, such as sweat glands or salivary glands, the endocrine glands release their signals directly into the bloodstream. These signals are called hormones, a word that comes from the Greek for to set in motion. That is exactly what they do. Hormones set the body's processes into motion, awakening changes in distant organs, shifting the flow of energy, guiding growth, regulating reproduction, and maintaining the balance of life. Imagine the bloodstream as a vast river, winding through every corner of the body. Along its banks sit the endocrine glands, each one releasing its own unique messengers into the flow. The pituitary gland, no larger than a pea, rests quietly beneath the brain, yet it sends out hormones that influence nearly every other gland. Because of this, it is sometimes called the master gland. The thyroid rests at the base of the neck, its two lobes wrapping gently around the trachea. From this position, it governs the pace of metabolism, whispering to the body how fast or slow its fires should burn. Just behind it lie the small parathyroid glands, each no larger than a grain of rice, regulating calcium levels with unceasing precision. Above the kidneys sit the adrenal glands, shaped like small caps, releasing hormones that prepare the body for action or help it recover from stress. Lower in the abdomen lies the pancreas, a gland with both digestive and endocrine roles, sending out insulin and glucagon to balance blood sugar. Still farther down, the gonads, ovaries in females and testes in males release hormones that guide reproduction and the changes of maturity. Together, these scattered structures form a quiet network, each one connected through the river of blood. Unlike the nervous system, which sends signals along direct nerve pathways, the endocrine system works through distance. A hormone may be released in one place and act far away, guiding a process in another part of the body. Insulin, for example, is released by the pancreas, but travels through the blood to muscle and fat cells, inviting them to take in glucose. Thyroid hormones circulate to every cell, setting the overall tempo of metabolism. Cortisol, released by the adrenal glands, flows throughout the body, tuning the response to stress, shaping energy use, and influencing even mood. This way of signaling is slower than the nervous system, but its effects are more enduring. A nerve impulse is over in a fraction of a second, while a hormonal signal may echo for hours or even days. It is like the difference between a flash of lightning and the steady glow of dawn. One illuminates instantly, the other shifts the world gradually, yet both are vital to the rhythm of life. The balance of hormones is maintained with great care. Many are governed by feedback loops, gentle cycles that keep levels from straying too far in either direction. When thyroid hormone rises too high, the pituitary reduces its stimulating signal, and production slows. When blood sugar dips, glucagon is released to raise it. When sugar climbs, insulin is released to lower it. Each hormone is part of a dance between release and restraint, a cycle that preserves homeostasis in subtle ways. The endocrine system is also deeply tied to time. It guides the slow unfolding of growth from childhood to adulthood, releasing waves of hormones that shape the body's form and function. It regulates the cycles of sleep and waking, influenced by melatonin released as night falls and withdrawn with the light of morning. It governs the cycles of reproduction, orchestrating monthly rhythms in females and the steady production of gametes in males. Even the changes of aging are guided by hormones, as their patterns shift across the span of a lifetime. What makes the endocrine system so remarkable is not only its influence on the body, but also its partnership with the nervous system. The two are not separate realms, but collaborators. The hypothalamus, a small region at the base of the brain, bridges the two, receiving neural signals and releasing hormones that guide the pituitary gland. In this way, the quickness of nerves and the patience of hormones are woven together. The nervous system responds instantly to a sudden change, a sound, a movement, a shift in light, while the endocrine system sustains the longer adjustments, tuning metabolism, energy, growth, and reproduction. Together they provide balance across both moment and memory, across both seconds and years. Even in rest, the endocrine system is at work. As you lie in calm, melatonin flows gently, aligning the body with the rhythm of night. Growth hormone is released in pulses, guiding tissues in their repair. Cortisol, often thought of as a stress hormone, rises toward morning, not to trouble you, but to prepare the body gently for waking. The system is not only a guardian in times of change, but also a companion in the daily cycles of life. When we pause to reflect on this hidden network, it feels almost poetic. Messages are carried invisibly, released by small glands that most of us rarely think about, yet their influence reaches every cell. They set in motion growth, reproduction, metabolism, mood, and even the subtle rise and fall of energy throughout the day. They are reminders that life does not unfold only in sudden moments, but also in gradual rhythms, flowing like water, pulsing like breath, steady and continuous. To imagine the endocrine system is to imagine rivers carrying quiet letters downstream, each one written for a different recipient, each one arriving at its destination to set a new process into motion. Some letters are short-lived, their messages fading quickly. Others echo for days, reshaping the body's patterns. Yet all are written in the language of balance, guiding the body back to harmony. Again, the nervous system may be the conductor, sharp and immediate, but the endocrine system is the voice of duration, of patience, of slow transformation. Together they ensure that the body not only responds to the moment but also endures through the years. Without the whisper of hormones, life's cycles would lose their rhythm. With them, the music of physiology flows, not only in notes but in movements, not only in moments but in seasons. The endocrine system is a reminder that the body is not merely mechanical, not merely reactive, but rhythmic and unfolding. It speaks in messages carried by blood, slow and soft, yet enduring. It is the gentle hand that guides growth, the quiet whisper that prepares for rest, the steady companion that sustains life across the changing landscape of time. 5. The circulatory system, a river of life. Within the human body lies a river system so vast and intricate that it reaches nearly every corner of our being. This is the circulatory system, a living network of vessels and currents, carrying nourishment, warmth, and breath to the billions of cells that make up who we are. It is sometimes called the cardiovascular system, for at its center is the heart, a tireless organ that beats without pause, pushing life forward with each contraction. If the nervous system is the conductor of the orchestra and the endocrine system, the poet of slow rhythms, then the circulatory system is the flowing music itself, the continuous stream upon which so many other systems depend. The heart, though only the size of a closed fist, is perhaps the most faithful companion of our lives. From the earliest weeks of development before birth until the very last moment, it never ceases its motion. Each beat sends blood into the vessels, pushing it onward, out to the lungs, the brain, the muscles, the skin, and all the organs in between. This rhythm is so steady that we rarely stop to notice it, yet it is the background pulse of life itself. The sound of a heartbeat, soft and constant, is the sound of blood flowing, of tissues receiving what they need, of balance being maintained. From the heart extend two great circuits of circulation. The pulmonary circuit carries blood to the lungs, where it gathers oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. The systemic circuit carries that oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body, delivering it to every cell. These two circuits form a loop, one feeding into the other, so that blood is always moving, always returning, never truly at rest. In this way, the circulatory system resembles a river with two great branches, one flowing outward to the lungs, and the other flowing outward to the body, both returning to the heart to begin the cycle again. The vessels themselves form a network so vast that, if stretched end to end, they would span tens of thousands of miles, enough to encircle the earth more than once. The largest vessels are the arteries, carrying blood away from the heart under pressure. They branch into smaller arterioles, which in turn branch into capillaries, the tiniest of vessels. Within these narrow channels, so small that red blood cells must pass in single file, the true exchange takes place. Oxygen leaves the blood and enters the tissues. Carbon dioxide leaves the tissues and enters the blood. Nutrients are delivered, wastes are collected, signals are passed. Afterward, the blood begins its journey back through venules and veins, low-pressure channels that guide it gently home to the heart. What makes this river extraordinary is not only its size, but also its precision. The body is able to direct blood where it is most needed. During exercise, for example, the muscles receive more flow, while the digestive system rests. After a meal, the opposite occurs, with more blood flowing to the stomach and intestines to aid in absorption. Even within the brain, flow is shifted and tuned, certain regions receiving more as they become active. The circulatory system is not a mindless pump but a thoughtful distributor, always adjusting to meet the needs of the moment. The blood itself is not a single substance but a living mixture. Within it move red blood cells, tiny carriers of oxygen bound to the protein hemoglobin. They make up nearly half of the blood's volume, and their journey is endless, picking up oxygen in the lungs, delivering it to tissues, returning with carbon dioxide to be released. White blood cells are fewer in number but serve as guardians, moving quietly through the circulation, ready to respond to signs of infection or injury. Platelets, smaller still, travel as repairers, gathering at wounds to begin the process of healing. All of these cells drift in plasma, a pale fluid made mostly of water, yet carrying proteins, nutrients, hormones, and countless other molecules essential for life. Beyond transport, the circulatory system also plays a role in balance. It carries heat from the core to the skin, releasing it when the body grows warm, conserving it when the body grows cold. It distributes hormones from endocrine glands to their distant targets, allowing slow signals to reach every part of the body. It carries immune cells to regions where they are needed, guiding them like quiet messengers. It even helps maintain the balance of fluids, salts, and pH throughout the tissues, ensuring that cells live in a stable environment. Without the constant motion of blood, none of these balances could be sustained. Even at night, when the body rests, the circulatory system does not. The heart continues its rhythm, though slowed, sending blood through the quiet organs. In sleep, the brain receives steady nourishment, memories are consolidated, tissues are repaired, and the immune system strengthens itself. All of this depends on the constant delivery of oxygen and nutrients through the river within. The stillness of sleep is, in truth, a time of great activity, and the circulatory system provides the stage upon which that activity unfolds. To imagine the circulatory system is to imagine rivers and streams flowing through a vast landscape. The heart is the spring, pumping forth the waters. The arteries are wide rivers, branching into streams, then into rivulets, so fine they touch every patch of land. Along the way, the waters nourish, cleanse, and restore. Then, having completed their work, they gather again into larger channels, returning to the spring to begin anew. It is a cycle without end, a flow without pause, a reminder that life is not a stillness but a current. Perhaps this is why the sound of a heartbeat is so comforting. It is a rhythm we knew even before birth, a steady drum within the womb. To hear it is to remember continuity, the unbroken line of life. Each beat is small, yet together they number in the billions across a lifetime. Each one is a gift, sending life onward, sustaining balance, carrying the body forward through time. The circulatory system is the river of life, the flowing current that sustains every cell. It does not ask for recognition, but it is always present, always moving, always delivering. It is the quiet pulse beneath the wrist, the warmth in the skin, the flush of the cheeks, the rhythm in the chest. It is the flow that connects every part of the body, weaving them into a whole. Without it, no system could endure. With it, the music of physiology continues, moment after moment, year after year. 6. The respiratory system, breathing in balance. There is a rhythm within you so gentle and so constant that it often fades into the background of awareness. It is the rhythm of breath, the rise and fall of the chest, the subtle expansion of the lungs, the quiet exchange of air that sustains life. This rhythm belongs to the respiratory system, the set of organs and pathways that bring oxygen into the body and carry carbon dioxide away. Of all the body's systems, it may be the most poetic, for it connects the inner world with the outer, drawing the atmosphere into the self and releasing it again, moment after moment, as long as life endures. Breathing begins with the lungs, two soft organs shaped like sponges, filling most of the chest cavity. Each lung is divided into lobes, 3 on the right and 2 on the left, their tissues branching inward into smaller and smaller airways. These airways, called bronchi and bronchioles, resemble the branches of a tree, dividing again and again until they end in tiny sacs called alveoli. There are hundreds of millions of these alveoli, and together they create a surface area vast enough to cover the floor of a small house. It is across this surface that the true miracle of breathing occurs, the exchange of gases that sustains every cell. When you inhale, air flows down the trachea, or windpipe, and enters the bronchi. From there, it follows the branching pathways until it reaches the alveoli. The walls of the alveoli are astonishingly thin, and pressed against them are tiny capillaries, equally delicate. On one side of the wall is air, rich with oxygen. On the other side is blood, returning from the body with carbon dioxide. In silence, without force, the gases exchange places. Oxygen slips into the blood, binding to hemoglobin within red blood cells, while carbon dioxide leaves the blood and drifts into the air, ready to be exhaled. This quiet trade is the essence of respiration, invisible yet unceasing. The act of breathing itself is guided by muscles. The diaphragm, a dome-shaped sheet of muscle beneath the lungs, contracts and flattens with each inhalation, enlarging the chest cavity and drawing air inward. When it relaxes, the chest cavity shrinks, and air is gently pushed out. The intercostal muscles between the ribs assist, lifting and widening the chest during deeper breaths. These motions are automatic, overseen by the brainstem, so that even in sleep, the breath continues. Yet they can also be controlled, slowed, or deepened by will, allowing the breath to serve as both unconscious rhythm and conscious companion. The respiratory system is not only about oxygen, it also serves to regulate the balance of carbon dioxide, a gas produced as cells release energy. Too much carbon dioxide in the blood shifts its chemistry, making it more acidic, while too little makes it more alkaline. The body keeps this balance with exquisite care, adjusting the rate and depth of breathing to maintain a steady state. Even the faint sensation of needing to breathe arises not from a lack of oxygen but from a rise in carbon dioxide. The whisper of homeostasis is present here too, keeping blood chemistry within narrow limits, preserving the calm in which cells thrive. Breath is also deeply tied to rhythm and emotion. Notice how it changes with feeling. In moments of calm, it is slow and deep. In moments of fear, it quickens. In laughter, it bursts forth in waves. In sadness, it may catch or sigh. The nervous system and the respiratory system are linked so closely that each affects the other, breath shaping mood, mood shaping breath. This is why slow, steady breathing brings calm, and why excitement makes the chest rise and fall more quickly. The breath is both a reflection of the inner state and a pathway by which balance may be restored. Beyond oxygen and carbon dioxide, the respiratory system has other roles. It warms and humidifies the air before it reaches the lungs. It filters out dust and particles, using tiny hairs and mucus to trap them. It serves as the source of voice, as air passes through the larynx, vibrating the vocal cords into sound. It even assists in smell, for the act of drawing air into the nose brings sense into contact with receptors, linking breath with memory and experience. The connection between the respiratory and circulatory systems is especially profound. The lungs provide oxygen, but the blood carries it. The heart pumps, but the lungs fill and empty. Together, they form a partnership so complete that neither can be understood without the other. The flow of blood and the flow of air are like two currents meeting, one carrying what the other requires, each completing the work of the other. At rest, the breath is quiet, often unnoticed, about 12 to 16 times each minute, yet it adapts effortlessly to circumstance. During exertion, it quickens, drawing in more oxygen, releasing more carbon dioxide. During sleep, it slows, falling into gentle waves that match the body's need. The muscles of the chest and diaphragm adjust without thought, guided by centers deep within the brainstem that monitor the chemistry of the blood. This is why the breath continues even when consciousness drifts away, steady and faithful, carrying life through the night. To picture the respiratory system, imagine a great tree growing within the chest. Its trunk, the trachea, its branches, the bronchi, its countless twigs, the bronchioles, and its leaves, the alveoli. With every breath, the tree fills with air, each leaf exchanging gases with the blood that flows beside it. With every exhale, the tree releases what is no longer needed, preparing itself to receive again. It is a tree that never ceases to move, swaying gently in the rhythm of life. Perhaps this is why the breath has long been seen as a symbol of spirit, of life itself. To breathe is to live, and to cease breathing is to depart from life. Yet in daily existence, we rarely stop to notice the gift of the breath. It continues without request, without attention, offering balance and calm with every cycle. To bring awareness to it, even briefly, is to recognize the quiet strength of the respiratory system, the soft harmony it maintains within the body. The respiratory system is the body's gateway to the world, a bridge between the air outside and the life within. With each inhale, the world enters you, and with each exhale, you return something to it. It is an exchange as old as life itself, a balance so steady that it can carry you through sleep, through rest, through every moment of being. It is the rhythm beneath words, the tide within the chest, the gentle rise and fall that sustains you without end. 7. The digestive system, nourishment in motion. Within the quiet workings of the body, there is one system that bridges the world outside with the life within more directly than almost any other. This is the digestive system, the pathway through which food becomes energy, through which nourishment is broken down into forms the body can use, and through which waste is gently released back into the world. The process of digestion is so familiar that we rarely stop to think of its wonder. A meal appears before us. We eat, and we feel satisfied. Yet within, a long journey begins, filled with transformations so steady and so precise that life itself depends on their rhythm. The journey begins in the mouth, where food first enters. Here, the work is both mechanical and chemical. The teeth break food into smaller pieces, grinding and tearing, while saliva moistens and begins the chemical process of digestion. Saliva contains enzymes, small proteins that act like quiet tools, breaking down starches into simpler sugars. As the food is chewed, the tongue moves it, shaping it into a soft mass, ready to be swallowed. Even in this early moment, digestion has begun, and nourishment is already being unlocked. Swallowing carries food down the esophagus, a muscular tube that leads to the stomach. The movement is guided by waves of contraction called peristalsis, gentle ripples that push the food downward. These waves continue throughout the digestive system, moving food along with unhurried patience, never rushing, never pausing too long, but carrying the process forward in its own steady time. When the food reaches the stomach, it enters a chamber designed for transformation. The stomach is both muscular and glandular. Its walls churn and mix, while its lining releases gastric juices rich with acid and enzymes. These substances break proteins into smaller fragments, preparing them for absorption later. The stomach does not simply dissolve food in chaos. It works in rhythm, mixing and breaking it down into a semi-liquid form called chyme. This chyme is then released in careful portions into the small intestine, as though the stomach knows to share its work gradually, ensuring that the rest of the system is not overwhelmed. The small intestine is where the greatest transformations occur. It is a long, coiled tube, stretching for several meters, its walls lined with folds, villi, and microvilli, countless tiny projections that increase its surface area enormously. Across this vast landscape, nutrients are absorbed. Carbohydrates are broken into simple sugars and carried into the blood. Proteins are reduced to amino acids, the building blocks of new tissue. Fats are broken into fatty acids and glycerol, absorbed with the help of bile, a substance released by the liver and stored in the gallbladder. Vitamins, minerals, and water are also drawn in, each one essential for balance. Each one carried away in the bloodstream to join the body's quiet symphony of systems. The pancreas, though small, plays an important supporting role here. It releases digestive enzymes into the small intestine, helping to break down food into forms the body can use. It also releases bicarbonate, a substance that neutralizes the acidity of the chyme, protecting the delicate tissues of the intestine. The liver, too, contributes, producing bile that emulsifies fats, allowing them to be absorbed more easily. These organs, though often forgotten in daily thought, are essential companions in the act of nourishment. After the small intestine has absorbed what it can, the remaining material passes into the large intestine, or colon. Here, the work shifts from digestion to absorption of water and the formation of waste. The colon is home to countless bacteria, forming what is often called the gut microbiome. These microorganisms live in balance with the body, helping to break down certain substances, producing vitamins, and maintaining the health of the digestive tract. They are invisible partners in the process, existing in harmony with their human host, each contributing to the balance of life. Slowly, as water is absorbed, the material left behind becomes more solid. It is gathered and stored in the rectum until the body is ready to release it. Thus, the journey of food comes to an end, returning to the outside world what the body does not need, completing the cycle. The digestive system is not only about breaking food into parts, it is about maintaining balance in energy, in growth, and in repair. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought requires energy, and this energy comes from digestion. The sugars fuel the cells, the amino acids build and mend tissues, the fats form membranes and store reserves. The vitamins and minerals act as helpers in countless reactions. Without this steady inflow, the music of the body could not continue. Even in rest, digestion continues. While you sleep, the stomach still churns. The intestines still absorb. The liver and pancreas still release their secretions. The process does not pause simply because awareness drifts away. It is a quiet rhythm, one that began with the first meal of infancy and that will continue through every day of life. To picture the digestive system is to imagine a long, winding river, beginning in the mouth, flowing downward, coiling and branching, always moving, always transforming. Along its course are mills and workshops, organs that grind, mix, and release their tools, each one contributing to the journey. The river carries what is needed, distributing it through the bloodstream, and then carries away what is no longer useful. It is not a hurried river, but a patient one, flowing steadily, sustaining life in its passage. Perhaps what makes the digestive system so remarkable is its combination of power and gentleness. It breaks down food with strong acids and enzymes, yet it does so with balance, never too much, never too little. It absorbs what is needed and releases the rest. It transforms the outside world into the inner self, making the food we eat into the tissues of our bodies, the energy of our movements, the very fabric of our being. The digestive system is nourishment in motion, a steady cycle of intake, transformation, and release. It is the quiet laborer within, unseen and often unnoticed, yet essential in every way. With each meal, it begins again, repeating the journey, sustaining balance, ensuring that the music of physiology plays on. 8. The body is often thought of as a structure of bones, but beneath the skin, it is the muscles that give it movement, expression, and quiet strength. The muscular system is not simply about power or speed. It is about the ability to move with grace, to breathe, to circulate blood, and even to sit in stillness. Muscles are present in nearly every part of the body, working tirelessly and often silently. They shape our every gesture, and yet they also serve as companions in rest, maintaining posture and supporting life in ways we seldom notice. There are 3 kinds of muscle in the human body: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. Each type has its own character and rhythm, yet all are woven into the harmony of physiology. Skeletal muscles are the ones most familiar to us, attached to bones by tendons, stretching and contracting to move the body. They are voluntary, meaning that we can choose to use them, whether to lift an arm, walk across a room, or smile. Yet even these voluntary muscles often act without deliberate thought, keeping us upright, adjusting our balance, or moving with the flow of daily life. Cardiac muscle is found only in the heart, and it has a rhythm all its own. Unlike skeletal muscle, it is involuntary, continuing its contractions without pause, hour after hour, year after year. Its fibers are strong yet coordinated, contracting in unison so that the heart pumps efficiently. Within this muscle lies a natural pacemaker, specialized cells that generate impulses, guiding the beat of life without need for external command. Cardiac muscle is the steady drum that drives the river of blood through the body, a rhythm so constant that we rarely pause to acknowledge its loyalty. Smooth muscle, the third type, is found in the walls of hollow organs, in the stomach, intestines, blood vessels, bladder, and airways. These muscles work quietly, moving food along the digestive tract, adjusting the width of vessels, regulating the flow of air, and guiding the release of fluids. Their actions are not under conscious control, yet they are as essential as any voluntary movement. Smooth muscle works like the hidden machinery behind the scenes of a play, unseen but indispensable, keeping the performance moving without interruption. What unites all muscle is its ability to contract, to shorten, and pull. This ability is rooted in the microscopic arrangement of fibers within each cell. Muscle fibers contain proteins called actin and myosin, which slide past one another when stimulated, creating contraction. The energy for this process comes from the molecules of food transformed by the digestive system and carried by the blood. Thus, each contraction is not only a mechanical act, but also the result of cooperation among systems: the digestive, providing fuel; the circulatory, delivering oxygen; the nervous system, sending the signal to move. The beauty of the muscular system is not only in its ability to produce great feats of strength, but also in its ability to act with gentleness. The same fibers that allow a runner to sprint can also allow a person to cradle something fragile without harm. The same muscles that enable loud laughter also enable the quiet rise and fall of the chest in sleep. Strength and stillness exist together in the muscles, a reminder that true power is not always expressed in force but sometimes in restraint. Muscles are also guardians of posture. Even when the body is at rest, sitting or standing, countless small contractions are occurring, holding the spine upright, balancing the head, adjusting the limbs. These contractions are not loud or forceful. They are subtle and continuous, creating stability. Without them, the body would collapse under its own weight. Thus, even stillness is an active state, maintained by the strength of muscles working quietly in the background. Beyond movement and posture, muscles play other roles. They generate heat, helping to maintain body temperature. They assist in circulation, as the contraction of skeletal muscles in the legs helps push blood back toward the heart. They protect, forming layers over bones and organs, absorbing impact and shielding delicate structures. In the face, muscles create expression, forming the soft language of emotion. A smile, a frown, the lift of the eyebrows. These expressions are often unconscious, yet they are woven deeply into human connection. During rest and sleep, the muscular system does not fall silent. While many skeletal muscles relax, others continue their tasks. The diaphragm, itself a muscle, rises and falls with each breath, keeping oxygen flowing. The heart, made of cardiac muscle, continues to beat in its steady rhythm. Smooth muscles in the intestines continue their peristaltic waves, carrying food gently along. Even in stillness, the muscular system remains active, its quiet strength sustaining life. To imagine the muscular system is to imagine a vast landscape of fibers, some long and strong, others fine and delicate, all woven together in harmony. When one contracts, another lengthens, creating balance. When one rests, another works, creating continuity. Together, they form a fabric of motion that makes every gesture possible, from the smallest movement of the fingers to the powerful stride of walking. Perhaps what is most humbling about muscles is their adaptability. They respond to use, growing stronger when challenged, weakening when neglected, healing when injured. They change with time, reflecting the rhythms of life, soft and pliable in infancy, strong and enduring in youth, gentler but still steady in age. They are not fixed in form but living, responding to the needs placed upon them, always adjusting, always balancing between strength and stillness. The muscular system is not simply the source of force, but the quiet partner of life. It allows the body to interact with the world, to stand, to move, to breathe, to live in expression. It is strength in stillness, power in gentleness, motion in rest. It is the silent thread that connects intention with action, energy with expression, the inner self with the outer world. 9. The skeletal system. Silent framework. Beneath the surface of the body lies a structure that holds everything in place. A framework of remarkable design. This is the skeletal system, the collection of bones and joints that gives shape, support, and protection to the human form. Without it, the muscles would lack direction, the organs would lack shelter, and the body itself would collapse into formlessness. Though bones are often thought of as lifeless, they are in truth living tissue, dynamic and responsive, constantly renewed in rhythm with the needs of the body. The skeletal system is silent, steady, and enduring, yet never still. The adult human body contains 206 bones. Each one has its own shape and role, yet together they form a unified whole. Some are long, like the femur of the thigh, built to bear weight and act as levers for movement. Some are flat, like the sternum and skull bones, designed to protect delicate structures. Others are irregular, fitting into places of complexity, such as the vertebrae of the spine. Each bone is shaped by both function and balance, a harmony of strength and lightness. Bones are hard enough to protect, yet porous enough to remain light. Their inner lattice work, giving resilience without unnecessary weight. Bones are not merely supports, they are protectors. The skull encases the brain, a delicate organ shielded within a vault of curved plates. The rib cage surrounds the heart and lungs, creating a cage that flexes with each breath yet keeps danger at bay. The vertebrae guard the spinal cord, a channel of nervous signals running through the center of the body. These protective structures are not rigid barriers but flexible guardians, designed to allow movement while preserving safety. Movement itself is made possible by the cooperation of bones, joints, and muscles. Bones provide the levers, joints provide the pivots, and muscles provide the force. A simple motion, such as lifting an arm, requires the coordination of multiple bones and joints, each one fitting against the other in carefully shaped surfaces. Some joints allow wide arcs of motion, like the ball and socket joints of the shoulder and hip. Others allow only bending and straightening, like the hinge of the elbow or knee. Some permit subtle gliding, such as those between small bones of the wrist. These variations allow the body to move with grace, to combine stability with freedom, though bones feel unchanging to the touch. Within they are alive with activity. Bone tissue is constantly broken down and rebuilt, a process known as remodeling. Specialized cells called osteoclasts resorb old bone, while osteoblasts lay down new material. This cycle allows bones to repair themselves after injury, to adapt to the stresses placed upon them, and to maintain a balance of minerals within the body. Calcium and phosphate, so vital to cellular processes, are stored in bone and released into the bloodstream as needed. In this way, the skeleton is not only a structure but also a reservoir, part of the larger balance of physiology. Within many bones lies marrow, a soft tissue with profound importance. Red marrow is the birthplace of blood cells, producing red cells to carry oxygen, white cells to defend against infection, and platelets to aid in clotting. Yellow marrow, found in other regions, stores fat as an energy reserve. Thus, the skeleton is not only a framework but also a source of life, producing the very cells that travel through the bloodstream, sustaining immunity and healing. The skeletal system also reflects the story of time. In childhood, bones are filled with growth plates, regions of active tissue where length is added as the body grows taller. With age, these plates close, and growth slows, yet remodeling continues throughout life. In youth, bones are often more flexible, able to bend without breaking. In age, they may become more brittle, yet still they adapt, still they carry the form of life. The skeleton changes, but its quiet work never ceases. To imagine the skeletal system is to picture a great architecture, a cathedral of living stone. The spine is its central column, supporting the weight of the head and torso, balancing strength with flexibility through its natural curves. The ribs arch outward like vaulted ceilings, forming a protective chamber for the organs of breath and circulation. The limbs extend like pillars, strong and graceful, enabling motion and interaction with the world. The skull, with its complex plates and cavities, is a fortress for the mind, allowing both protection and expression. Each piece is crafted not in isolation, but as part of a whole, fitted together in harmony. Even in stillness, the skeletal system serves. When you sit quietly, it holds you upright. When you lie down, it supports your weight, aligning your body. When you breathe, the ribs expand and contract, making space for the lungs. It is not only in motion that bones matter, but also in rest, in posture, in the simple act of being held together. The skeleton is strength beneath softness, form beneath motion, silence beneath sound. Perhaps the most humbling truth of the skeletal system is its endurance. Bones outlast flesh, persisting long after other tissues have faded. They are the record of life, the traces left behind when memory has gone. Archaeologists read the stories of ancient people through bones, learning their ages, their health, their struggles, and their resilience. In this way, the skeleton is not only the framework of the living but also the testimony of the past, a silent reminder of existence. The skeletal system is the quiet architecture of life, a framework that holds, protects, and endures. It is not inert but dynamic, living, adapting, reshaping itself to meet the needs of the body. It is a partner to the muscles, a guardian of the organs, a reservoir of minerals, a cradle of blood cells. It is the structure that allows life to stand, to move, to reach, to rest. Beneath every gesture lies this silent framework, steady and unyielding, yet alive with motion at the deepest level. 10. The integumentary system, the body's gentle shield. Covering the body in a continuous, unbroken layer is a system both protective and sensitive, strong yet delicate. This is the integumentary system, composed of the skin, hair, and nails, as well as the glands that accompany them. Though it may seem simple compared to the organs within, it is in truth one of the most remarkable systems of the body, for it is both barrier and bridge, shielding us from the outer world, while at the same time connecting us to it through sensation. The skin is the largest organ of the human body, spreading across nearly 2 square meters in an average adult. Its layers form a living shield, designed to endure exposure, to adapt to change, and to communicate with the world beyond. The outermost layer, the epidermis, is composed of tightly packed cells, many of which are in a constant cycle of renewal. New cells are created deep below, and as they rise to the surface, they gradually flatten, harden, and eventually shed. This process provides a continuous replenishment, ensuring that the outermost shield remains intact. Beneath the epidermis lies the dermis, a thicker layer rich with connective tissue, blood vessels, and sensory receptors. Here, collagen and elastin fibers give the skin both strength and flexibility, allowing it to stretch and recover. Within the dermis lie sweat glands that help regulate temperature, sebaceous glands that release oils to soften and waterproof the surface, and tiny muscles that can raise hairs, creating the familiar sensation of goosebumps. This layer is also the home of sensation, filled with nerve endings that detect touch, pressure, temperature, and pain. Through these signals, the body remains aware of its environment, protected not only by the shield itself, but also by the ability to sense changes around it. Beneath the dermis lies the hypodermis, a layer of fat and connective tissue that cushions the body, stores energy, and provides insulation against cold. Together, these three layers, epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis, form a system that is at once protective and responsive, enduring yet sensitive. The skin is not only a barrier but also a regulator. When the body becomes too warm, sweat glands release moisture, which evaporates and cools the surface. Blood vessels in the dermis widen, allowing heat to escape through the skin. When the body grows cold, these vessels narrow, conserving heat, while tiny muscles raise the hairs, trapping a layer of air for insulation. Through such adjustments, the integumentary system helps maintain homeostasis, holding the inner environment steady in the face of changing conditions. Hair, though often thought of as decorative, is also part of this system of protection and sensation. Each strand grows from a follicle deep in the dermis, nourished by blood vessels at its base. Hair on the head provides insulation, shielding the scalp from sun and cold. Eyelashes and eyebrows guard the eyes from dust and sweat, while the fine hairs across the skin contribute to touch sensitivity, amplifying the signals of nerve endings when they bend or move. Though hair varies in thickness and abundance, it remains a quiet partner in the body's relationship with the outer world. Nails, too, are often overlooked but serve subtle purposes. Composed of keratin, the same protein found in hair and the outer skin, nails protect the delicate tips of fingers and toes. They also provide precision in touch, acting as tools for grasping, scratching, or delicate manipulation. Their slow, steady growth reflects not only local health, but sometimes the state of the body as a whole, as conditions within may leave their quiet marks upon the nail's surface. The integumentary system is also deeply tied to identity and expression. The color of skin, determined by pigments such as melanin, provides protection against the sun's rays, while also forming one of the most visible aspects of human variation. The hair that grows, the patterns of nails, the lines and textures that appear with time, all become part of a person's story, written quietly upon the surface of the body. These outward features are not merely superficial, but reflections of the life within, shaped by both biology and experience. Perhaps one of the most profound roles of the skin is its ability to heal. When the surface is cut or injured, cells at the edges begin to divide and migrate, new tissue forming to close the gap. Blood clotting, inflammation, and the laying down of new fibers all unfold in quiet sequence, guided by signals from both local cells and the bloodstream. With time, the wound closes, and though a scar may remain, the shield is restored. This capacity for renewal is part of what makes the integumentary system so remarkable. It is not only a passive covering, but an active, living barrier, always repairing and replenishing itself. Even in sleep, the integumentary system remains at work. Sweat glands adjust to changes in temperature, blood flow shifts through the skin, and cell renewal continues its cycle. The skin breathes in its own way, releasing small amounts of water and salts, maintaining its role as both protector and regulator even in the quiet hours of rest. To imagine the integumentary system is to picture a protective cloak, fitted to the contours of the body, always renewing itself, always alert to change. It is both armor and sensor, both shield and bridge, a boundary that is never truly closed. Within its surface lie the marks of timelines that tell of expression, scars that tell of healing, colors that tell of heritage and adaptation. It is at once deeply personal and universally human. The integumentary system is the body's gentle shield, guarding without hardness, sensing without intrusion, adapting without rest. It is the soft strength that allows life to face the world, moment by moment, without fear of exposure. In silence, it protects. In stillness, it renews. It is the first line of contact, the outermost layer of self, the quiet guardian that allows all the inner systems to remain in balance, safe within. 11. The immune system. Silent defenders. Within the quiet interior of the body, unseen and often unnoticed, lives a system of guardians. This is the immune system, a vast and intricate network that protects the self from what does not belong, that distinguishes between what is safe and what could cause harm. Unlike the heart, which beats audibly, or the lungs, which rise and fall in rhythm, the immune system works without sound or sensation, most of its activity invisible. Yet without it, the body would be vulnerable to even the smallest of invaders. Its defenders are silent, yet their vigilance never ceases. The immune system is not located in one place but spread throughout the body. It is composed of organs, cells, and molecules that work together, forming a mobile defense force that travels wherever it is needed. The bone marrow, deep within bones, produces many of the immune system's cells. The thymus, a small organ in the chest, helps train certain cells to recognize what belongs to the body and what does not. The lymph nodes, scattered like small sentinels, filter fluid and host gatherings of immune cells ready to respond. The spleen, resting in the upper abdomen, filters blood and provides another site for defense. And throughout the body, in tissues and in circulation, immune cells wait in quiet readiness. At the center of this system are white blood cells, or leukocytes. They are not a single type, but many, each with its own role. Neutrophils act quickly, rushing to sites of injury or infection to engulf and destroy invaders. Lymphocytes include B cells, which produce antibodies, and T cells, which coordinate responses and directly target infected cells. Macrophages act as scavengers, clearing debris and presenting signals that guide other immune cells. Natural killer cells patrol for cells that have been altered or compromised. Together, these varied cells form a community of defenders, each contributing its own way of maintaining balance. One of the immune system's most remarkable abilities is recognition. It can distinguish between the body's own tissues, called self, and foreign substances, called non-self. This recognition is guided by intricate proteins on the surfaces of cells, the patterns that mark them as belonging or not. When something foreign enters a bacterium, a virus, or even a toxin, the immune system perceives the difference and begins to act. The response may involve direct destruction, the release of chemical signals, or the creation of antibodies that will recognize the invader if it returns in the future. Antibodies themselves are like keys designed for specific locks. Each one is shaped to match a particular antigen, the unique marker of an invader. Once bound, they neutralize the threat or mark it for destruction by other cells. What makes this even more extraordinary is memory. After an encounter, the immune system remembers. If the same invader appears again, the response is faster and stronger. This memory is the principle behind vaccination, a way of training the immune system in advance, preparing it to respond before illness can take hold. The immune system is not always forceful. Often, its work is subtle, involving watchfulness and restraint. Too much response can be as harmful as too little, and so regulation is essential. Cells called regulatory T cells help calm the immune system after a threat has passed, preventing it from damaging the body's own tissues. This balance between defense and tolerance is delicate, but it is maintained with astonishing precision. The lymphatic system supports this work, carrying a clear fluid called lymph through a network of vessels. Along the way, lymph passes through nodes where immune cells wait, filtering out potential invaders. The lymphatic system also returns fluid to the bloodstream, preventing swelling and keeping circulation balanced. It is both part of immunity and part of homeostasis, linking defense with the steady flow of the body's internal rivers. Even in rest, the immune system is active, As you sleep, immune cells patrol, repair, and prepare. The body uses these hours to strengthen its defenses, producing antibodies, clearing damaged cells, and coordinating responses. This is why rest supports health, and why sleep often brings healing during illness. The immune system is not only a defender in crisis, but a maintainer in quiet times, always working, always attentive. To imagine the immune system is to picture a quiet watchtower with unseen guardians, or perhaps a forest alive with hidden life, where some creatures protect, others communicate, and all are in balance. It is not a single fortress, but a living network, spread through blood, bone, and tissue. It has no single voice, but countless small ones, each responding, each contributing to the harmony of defense. What is most humbling about this system is its invisibility. We rarely notice when it succeeds, for health feels like absence, the absence of infection, the absence of intrusion. Yet beneath this absence lies constant activity, a vigilance that allows balance to be maintained. The immune system is like a silent guardian at the gates, always awake, always ready, even as we sleep. The immune system is the body's quiet defender, watching without rest, acting with both power and restraint. It is the unseen companion of every breath, every movement, every moment of being alive. Without it, life would be fragile. With it, life is sheltered, balanced, and resilient, held safe by silent defenders within. 12. The lymphatic system, quiet currents of protection. Flowing silently beside the great rivers of blood lies another system, less known, yet equally vital. This is the lymphatic system, a network of vessels, nodes, and organs that carries a clear fluid called lymph. Its currents move gently, gathering excess fluid from tissues, filtering it, and returning it to the bloodstream. At the same time, it supports the immune system, housing cells that defend against intruders. Though it moves quietly and without the forceful beat of the heart, the lymphatic system is a guardian of balance, sustaining both circulation and protection in subtle ways. To begin, it is helpful to picture how the body's tissues live in relation to circulation. As blood flows through capillaries, oxygen and nutrients pass outward to nourish the cells. At the same time, wastes and carbon dioxide move into the blood to be carried away. Yet not all fluid returns directly to the veins. A portion seeps into the spaces between cells, forming interstitial fluid. If this fluid were left to build, tissues would swell and drown. Here the lymphatic system enters, collecting this excess and guiding it into its own vessels. Once inside, the fluid is called lymph, a word that comes from the Latin for clear water. Lymphatic vessels resemble veins, with thin walls and valves that keep fluid moving in one direction. They do not have the powerful pump of the heart to drive them. Instead, they rely on gentle motions, the contraction of nearby muscles, the pressure of breathing, even the beating of arteries beside them. Step by step, squeeze by squeeze, lymph is moved along its path, always flowing toward larger vessels and eventually returning to the bloodstream near the heart. Though quiet and unhurried, this movement is continuous, preventing the body from becoming waterlogged and keeping tissues in balance. Along the pathways of lymph lie small structures called lymph nodes, shaped like beans and scattered in clusters throughout the body in the neck, armpits, chest, abdomen, and groin. These nodes act as checkpoints. As lymph passes through, immune cells within them examine its contents. If intruders such as bacteria or viruses are found, the cells multiply and respond, often causing the nodes to swell. In this way, the lymphatic system is not only a drainage network but also a defense system, filtering and protecting as it flows. The lymphatic system includes organs as well. The spleen, resting on the left side of the abdomen, filters blood, removing old or damaged red cells while hosting immune cells that respond to threats. The thymus, located in the chest, is especially important in early life, where it helps T cells mature and learn to distinguish self from non-self. Even the tonsils and adenoids, tissues in the throat, play a role, guarding the entrances where air and food first pass. Together, these organs form part of the body's quiet defense, linked through the gentle currents of lymph. Lymph itself is more than water. It carries proteins, fats, immune cells, and sometimes even cells from the digestive system. After a meal, the lymphatic system transports fats absorbed in the intestines, carrying them through specialized vessels called lacteals. These vessels give lymph a milky appearance after eating, a reminder that this system not only drains but also nourishes, linking digestion with circulation. What makes the lymphatic system remarkable is its quietness. Unlike the dramatic pulse of blood or the rhythm of breath, lymph moves without sensation, its flow unnoticed in daily life. Yet without it, balance would falter. Fluids would accumulate, tissues would swell, and defenses would be weakened. Its work is not loud, but essential, providing stability in ways so subtle they are often forgotten. The lymphatic system is also deeply tied to the immune system. It serves as the highway along which immune cells travel, moving to sites of infection or injury. It is the stage upon which immune responses unfold. Lymph nodes gathering cells together to recognize, remember, and respond. When the body encounters something harmful, it is often within the lymphatic system that the alarm is raised and the defenders are mobilized. Thus, it is both a circulatory system and a guardian system, combining transport with vigilance. Even in rest, lymph flows. As you sleep, muscles shift and breathe, gently massaging the vessels. The fluid continues to move. Wastes are carried away, and immune cells remain in watchful circulation. This quiet background work contributes to the feeling of renewal upon waking. For while the conscious mind rests, the body's systems do not. The lymphatic system, like the others, continues its rhythm, keeping balance in silence. To imagine the lymphatic system is to picture streams alongside rivers, smaller channels carrying clear water back toward the main flow. Along these streams are small groves where watchers stand, examining what passes. If danger is seen, they sound an alarm, gathering companions to respond. The streams join into larger channels, always returning to the great river of blood, completing a circle of flow. It is a landscape of quiet protection, a hidden current that sustains harmony. Perhaps what is most humbling is how the lymphatic system shows the interconnectedness of all others. It links circulation with immunity, digestion with protection, movement with balance. It does not act alone, but always in partnership, always in service of the whole. Its quietness does not diminish its importance. Rather, it reflects the subtlety with which balance is often kept. The lymphatic system is the body's gentle stream, carrying away what is unneeded, returning what belongs, hosting defenders along its banks. It is a system of quiet currents, flowing without sound, protecting without boast. In its silence, it maintains balance, providing the background work that allows all other systems to thrive. It is a reminder that life is not sustained only by the great movements of heart and lungs, but also by the softer flows, the hidden rivers, the guardians we do not feel but upon whom we always depend. 13. The nervous and endocrine partnership, communication in harmony. Within the body, there are two great systems of communication, each with its own language, pace, and reach. One is the nervous system, transmitting rapid signals through networks of cells and fibers, sending impulses that can cross the body in fractions of a second. The other is the endocrine system, releasing hormones into the bloodstream, slow-moving messengers that drift with the flow of circulation, reaching distant targets and shaping processes over hours, days, or even longer. Together, these two systems form a partnership, each complementing the other, each balancing speed with duration, precision with breadth. Their harmony allows the body to respond to change while maintaining stability. The nervous system is a network of astonishing speed. At its center is the brain, a command hub of billions of neurons, each one capable of sending and receiving signals. From the brain extends the spinal cord, a central pathway linking to nerves that branch outward to every part of the body. Neurons communicate with one another at junctions called synapses, where electrical impulses trigger the release of chemical messengers, allowing signals to pass across tiny gaps. In this way, information flows rapidly, directing muscles to contract, senses to transmit, and organs to adjust in response to shifting conditions. The endocrine system, by contrast, speaks in slower tones. Its organs, the glands, release hormones into the bloodstream. These chemical messengers travel throughout the body, binding to receptors and target tissues, initiating changes that may unfold gradually. The pituitary gland, often called the master gland, sits at the base of the brain and releases hormones that influence growth, reproduction, and metabolism. The thyroid, in the neck, shapes the pace of energy use and heat production. The adrenal glands, perched atop the kidneys, release hormones that prepare the body for stress, while the pancreas balances sugar levels in the blood. Each gland has its role, each hormone its signal, together forming a network of long-distance communication. What makes this partnership remarkable is the way in which these systems interact. The nervous system can influence the endocrine, sending signals that trigger hormone release. In turn, hormones can affect the nervous system, altering mood, alertness, and energy. Consider the hypothalamus, a small region deep within the brain. It serves as a bridge between the two systems, receiving signals from the nervous system and releasing hormones that act on the pituitary. From there, cascades of hormonal messages flow outward, influencing distant organs. This cooperation allows the body to coordinate fast and slow responses, immediate action, and lasting adaptation. An example can be found in the body's response to stress. When a sudden challenge arises, the nervous system acts first, sending signals that increase heart rate, widen airways, and sharpen attention. At the same time, it signals the adrenal glands to release adrenaline, amplifying the response. Shortly afterward, the endocrine system continues the adaptation, with hormones such as cortisol sustaining alertness and energy over a longer period. Together, these systems prepare the body, both for the instant and for the aftermath, balancing quickness with endurance. The partnership is also evident in everyday rhythms. The cycles of sleep and wakefulness are guided by signals from both systems. The nervous system responds to light and darkness, while the endocrine system releases hormones such as melatonin, which promotes sleep, and cortisol, which helps bring wakefulness in the morning. Hunger and satiety are likewise coordinated, with nerves signaling the immediate sensation of fullness, while hormones such as insulin, leptin, and ghrelin regulate appetite and energy balance over time. The integration of fast and slow ensures that needs are met with both immediacy and continuity. Beyond survival, this partnership shapes growth and development. In childhood and adolescence, hormones drive the changes of maturation. Yet these changes are also guided by signals from the brain. In adulthood, hormonal cycles influence reproduction, metabolism, and mood, while the nervous system provides the precision of moment-to-moment control. Even aging reflects the dialogue between these two systems, as both neural activity and hormonal patterns shift with time, altering the rhythms of the body. What is striking is how these systems maintain harmony despite their differences. The nervous system is like a lightning strike, fast and precise, lighting up a pathway in an instant. The endocrine system is like a tide, slow and steady, washing through the body and reshaping it over time. Each is powerful in its own way, but together they create balance, speed tempered by endurance, precision complemented by breadth. This harmony is present even in sleep. While the conscious mind drifts into dreams, the nervous system continues to regulate heart rate, breathing, and temperature, while the endocrine system releases growth hormone to repair tissues and melatonin to deepen rest. Together, they create the conditions in which renewal can occur, shaping both the immediacy of nightly rhythms and the long-term patterns of health. To imagine the partnership of the nervous and endocrine systems is to imagine two forms of communication woven into one. One is like a whisper carried on the wind, reaching far and lingering long. The other is like a spark, bright. Neither is sufficient alone, but together they form a dialogue, a harmony of signals that sustain balance in the living body. Perhaps what is most humbling about this partnership is its invisibility. We do not feel neurons firing or hormones drifting through the bloodstream. We feel only their effects: the quickened heartbeat, the deepened breath, the calming of stress, the drowsiness of evening. Beneath those sensations lies the constant interplay of fast and slow, immediate and lasting, electrical and chemical. It is a duet of communication, silent yet unceasing. The nervous and endocrine systems are partners in harmony, shaping life through signals both swift and lingering. They allow the body to adapt, to grow, to rest, and to renew. Their dialogue is the foundation of balance, the quiet communication that makes all other systems possible. In their partnership, we find not conflict but complement, not rivalry but resonance, a reminder that life is sustained not by speed or slowness alone, but by the gentle weaving of both. 14. The reproductive system, cycles of renewal. Among all the body's systems, there is one that carries a meaning extending beyond the individual. This is the reproductive system, whose role is not only in personal health but in the continuity of life itself. While the heart sustains circulation and the lungs bring in breath, the reproductive system ensures that the human story can be carried forward, generation after generation. It is a system defined by cycles, by rhythms of renewal, and by the possibility of creating new life from within the living. The reproductive system differs between males and females, each designed to complement the other, each contributing equally to the shared purpose. In the male body, the testes produce sperm, small cells that carry genetic information. These cells are formed in great numbers, millions each day, a constant renewal that ensures readiness. The sperm mature in structures called the epididymides and travel through ducts that join with fluids from accessory glands, the seminal vesicles, prostate, and bulbourethral glands. Together, these secretions form semen, which nourishes and protects the sperm on their journey. In the female body, the reproductive system centers upon cycles of preparation and renewal. Within the ovaries, eggs, also called oocytes, rest in quiet potential. Unlike sperm, they are finite, present from birth, but only a small fraction will ever mature. Each month, under the guidance of hormones, one egg ripens within its follicle, while the lining of the uterus thickens in anticipation. If fertilization does not occur, the lining is shed in the monthly rhythm known as menstruation, and the cycle begins again. This pattern is a profound expression of renewal, a balance of preparation, release, and restoration. When sperm and egg meet, fertilization can occur, joining two sets of genetic material into a new whole. The single cell that results divides, grows, and travels to the uterus, where it may implant and begin the long process of development. Over the course of months, the uterus shelters and nourishes the growing embryo and later the fetus, providing both protection and sustenance through the placenta, a remarkable temporary organ that connects parent and child through shared circulation. This capacity to carry new life within the body is one of the most extraordinary functions of physiology. Hormones guide the reproductive system, shaping its rhythms and functions. In males, testosterone drives the production of sperm and influences traits such as muscle growth and voice depth. In females, estrogen and progesterone coordinate the cycles of ovulation and menstruation, while also supporting pregnancy when it occurs. The pituitary gland, through hormones like luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone, regulates these processes, linking reproduction to the broader harmony of the endocrine system. These hormones create cycles of readiness, balance, and renewal that continue through much of life. The reproductive system is not only about the creation of new life, but also about expression and connection. It is linked to intimacy, to bonding, to the continuation of families and communities. It holds within it both biological purpose and personal meaning, reflecting the deep intertwining of the physical and emotional in human existence. Time shapes the reproductive system in ways unique among body systems. In childhood, it rests quietly, largely inactive. With puberty, it awakens, as hormones rise and cycles begin. In adulthood, it reaches full function, supporting fertility and continuity. Later, it transitions again. In females, menopause brings an end to monthly cycles, a natural conclusion to the years of fertility, while in males, gradual changes in hormone levels alter reproductive capacity more subtly. These stages are not simply endings but transformations, each phase carrying its own balance, its own form of renewal. The reproductive system also demonstrates the cooperation of many other systems. The circulatory system supplies blood to the growing fetus. The endocrine system guides the timing of cycles. The muscular system aids in childbirth, as powerful contractions of the uterus bring new life into the world. Even the integumentary system changes during pregnancy, as skin stretches and adapts. This interdependence shows that reproduction is not an isolated function but a symphony involving the whole body. To imagine the reproductive system is to picture a cycle of rising and falling, of preparation and release, of rest and renewal. It is like the changing of seasons, the budding of spring, the fullness of summer, the shedding of autumn, and the quiet of winter, always returning, always moving in rhythm. It is a cycle that reflects the continuity of life, linking past and future through the present. Even when new life is not created, the reproductive system cycles continue as part of balance. The monthly rhythms of hormones influence not only fertility, but mood, energy, and health. The presence of reproductive hormones contributes to bone strength, to cardiovascular health, to the shaping of the body itself. In this way, the system's influence extends far beyond reproduction alone, touching nearly every aspect of physiology. The reproductive system is the keeper of cycles, of continuity, of renewal. It is not constant, but rhythmic, not always active, but always present. It reflects the essence of balance, preparing, releasing, restoring, and transforming with time. It is a reminder that life is not only about the maintenance of the present, but also about the unfolding of the future, carried gently within the body itself. The reproductive system is, in essence, the body's promise of renewal, the quiet cycle that allows life to extend beyond the individual, connecting each being to those who came before and to those who may follow. It is not only a system of physiology, but a system of continuity, of possibility, and of connection across time. 15. The urinary system, flowing toward balance. Amid the many systems of the body that give energy, protection, and movement, there is one that quietly manages balance by filtering, cleansing, and releasing. This is the urinary system, also called the renal system, a network of organs that regulates the body's fluids, removes wastes, and maintains the steady environment in which all other systems can function. Its work is subtle but vital, like a caretaker of inner waters, keeping the chemistry of life in balance drop by drop, hour by hour. At the center of this system are the kidneys, two bean-shaped organs that rest on either side of the spine. just below the rib cage. Though modest in size, each about the length of a fist, their work is immense. Every day, they filter around 50 gallons of blood, removing waste products while conserving what is useful. They do this through millions of tiny structures called nephrons, each one a microscopic filter where blood is cleansed with precision. Within the nephron, wastes, such as urea and excess salts, are drawn out, while valuable substances like glucose and water are reabsorbed. This selective filtering allows the kidneys to maintain balance, ensuring that the body neither drowns in fluid nor dries from lack. The kidneys are not only filters, they are regulators. They monitor blood pressure, releasing hormones that adjust it when needed. They help control the production of red blood cells by secreting erythropoietin, which signals the bone marrow to make more when oxygen levels are low. They also play a role in maintaining the proper balance of minerals such as sodium, potassium, and calcium, each one critical for the rhythms of muscles and nerves. In this way, the kidneys act as both guardians and communicators, linking the chemistry of the blood to the needs of the body. From each kidney flows a ureter, a slender tube that carries urine, the fluid formed from filtered wastes, and excess water down to the bladder. The ureters move urine not by gravity alone, but by gentle waves of muscular contraction, guiding it steadily along. At the bladder, a hollow muscular organ, urine is stored until release. The bladder's walls stretch as it fills, and nerves send signals to the brain when the time for release has come. At that moment, muscles relax in coordination, and urine flows out through the urethra, completing the cycle of balance. This cycle is constant, though often unnoticed. At every moment, the kidneys are filtering, the ureters are carrying, the bladder is holding, and the urethra is releasing. Together, they maintain the inner rivers of the body, ensuring that wastes are removed and fluids remain in harmony. It is a process both cleansing and balancing, a rhythm as essential as breathing or heartbeat, though quieter and less apparent. The urinary system also works in partnership with others. It supports the cardiovascular system by regulating blood volume and pressure. It aids the skeletal system by helping control calcium and phosphate levels, minerals necessary for strong bones. It influences the endocrine system by releasing hormones and responding to them in turn. Even the digestive system is linked, as nutrients absorbed in the intestines eventually pass through the blood to the kidneys, where excesses are removed. This interconnection reflects the truth that no system works alone. All are woven together in balance. The urine itself, though often thought of as waste, is a record of balance. Its color, volume, and composition reflect the state of hydration, the levels of minerals, and the work of metabolism. In its flow is written the story of the body's chemistry, a quiet indicator of health. The act of releasing it is the completion of a cycle, the final step in the kidney's careful labor of filtration and regulation. Even in sleep, the urinary system continues. The kidneys do not rest, their nephrons continuing to filter, their balance maintained hour by hour. The bladder fills slowly, signaling the brain if release is needed. Yet the pace may change, as hormones shift during night hours, concentrating urine and allowing rest to continue longer. This adaptation shows how deeply the system is attuned to the rhythms of life, balancing the needs of both wakefulness and rest. To imagine the urinary system is to picture a pair of clear streams flowing through silent filters, joined into a path that leads toward release. Along the way, what is unneeded is gently removed, while what is vital is returned. At the end, the waters are gathered into a reservoir, waiting until they are carried back to the outer world. It is a system of flow and return, of cleansing and balance, quiet yet constant. What is most humbling is the precision of this system. It does not simply discard, but selects. It chooses what to keep, what to release, always adjusting to the needs of the moment. If fluids are scarce, it conserves. If salts are high, it excretes. If oxygen is low, it signals for more red blood cells. This fine-tuned regulation is the essence of homeostasis, the balance upon which all life depends. The urinary system is the body's flowing balance, a cycle of filtering, adjusting, and releasing. It is not dramatic, but steady. It is not loud, but essential. Like the soft work of tides, it moves in silence, shaping the inner seas of the body. Its gift is stability. Its rhythm is continuity. Its purpose is harmony. Through its quiet labor, the body remains cleansed and balanced, able to continue its greater symphony of life. 16. The respiratory and circulatory partnership, breath and flow. The body's balance depends not only on systems working within themselves, but also on their harmony with one another. Few partnerships are more essential than that of the respiratory and circulatory systems, the one bringing in breath, the other carrying it through the body. Together, they form a rhythm of exchange, air entering, oxygen absorbed, carbon dioxide released, and blood flowing in continuous cycles. Breath and flow are woven together into a pattern so seamless that it feels effortless, sustaining life with each quiet moment. The respiratory system begins with air, drawn in through the nose or mouth, passing into the trachea and branching into the lungs. Within the lungs, the airways divide again and again, like the branches of a great tree, until they reach the tiny sacs called alveoli. These delicate structures, thin-walled and numerous, are where the true exchange occurs. Here, oxygen passes across into the blood, while carbon dioxide flows out to be exhaled. The surface area of the alveoli is vast, equal to the size of a tennis court, ensuring that every breath provides ample opportunity for exchange. The circulatory system is the partner in this exchange. Blood arriving at the lungs is dark with carbon dioxide, the byproduct of metabolism. Within the capillaries that surround the alveoli, red blood cells release their carbon dioxide and take up oxygen. Each red blood cell carries a protein called hemoglobin, which binds oxygen molecules like a passenger boarding a vessel. With this cargo, the blood brightens and returns to the heart, ready to be pumped through arteries to every part of the body. There, oxygen is released to the tissues, fueling the work of cells, while carbon dioxide is gathered to begin the journey back. This cycle repeats endlessly, a continuous circle of exchange. The lungs draw in air, the blood receives oxygen, the heart sends it outward, and the tissues use it for energy. The blood then gathers carbon dioxide and returns it to the lungs, where it is released. Each breath, each beat, contributes to this balance, keeping the body supplied and cleansed. The rhythm of this partnership is guided by quiet regulators. Deep in the brainstem, clusters of neurons monitor the levels of carbon dioxide in the blood. When levels rise, they send signals to increase breathing rate, drawing in more air and releasing more waste. When oxygen levels fall, the body responds as well, adjusting both breath and flow. These adjustments happen without conscious thought, moment by moment, keeping balance without effort. The circulatory and respiratory systems also support one another in subtler ways. Breathing itself helps move blood, as the expansion and contraction of the chest create changes in pressure that draw venous blood back to the heart. Meanwhile, circulation helps the lungs by distributing blood evenly through their tissues, ensuring that every alveolus participates in the exchange. It is not only a partnership of function but of form, each system aiding the other's rhythm. This partnership is also deeply tied to energy. Oxygen is essential for cellular respiration, the process by which cells produce energy from nutrients. Without oxygen, the body must rely on less efficient pathways, producing only small amounts of energy and accumulating lactic acid. The presence of continuous oxygen allows the body to thrive, to sustain movement, thought, and repair. The removal of carbon dioxide is equally important. for its buildup would disturb the chemistry of the blood. The respiratory and circulatory systems thus act as both providers and purifiers, keeping the environment of the body steady. The harmony of breath and flow is also reflected in daily life. In exertion, breathing deepens and heart rate quickens, increasing the delivery of oxygen to muscles. In rest, both slow, conserving energy while still maintaining supply. During sleep, the rhythm becomes especially steady, with breath and heartbeat aligning into a calm pattern that supports repair. This adaptability shows the flexibility of the partnership, able to meet the demands of activity while also sustaining the stillness of rest. To imagine this partnership is to picture waves meeting a river. The breath is like the waves of the sea, rising and falling, bringing freshness with each motion. The blood is like the river, carrying that freshness inland, distributing it through every channel. Together they create a landscape of flow, a meeting of air and water, rhythm and current, that nourishes the whole. Even the sound of breathing and heartbeat reflect this partnership. The soft whisper of air, the quiet thump of circulation, these are the audible signs of systems that rarely call attention to themselves, yet are always at work. They are not intrusive but soothing, a reminder of continuity. Each breath is a renewal, each beat a confirmation of life. Perhaps what is most humbling about the respiratory and circulatory systems is how completely they serve not themselves but the whole. They do not act for their own sake, but for the needs of every cell, every tissue, every system. They are the carriers and exchangers, the bringers of energy and the removers of waste. In their ceaseless cooperation lies the foundation of balance, a rhythm that allows all other rhythms to unfold. The respiratory and circulatory partnership is, in essence, breath and flow, the quiet weaving of air and blood into life. It is not a loud system, though it sustains every moment. It is not noticed in its steadiness, though it is felt in its absence. In its harmony lies vitality, the unseen song that carries the body through waking and through sleep, always flowing, always renewing, always in balance. 17. The digestive and excretory partnership, nourishment and release. Every living body depends on a balance between what it receives and what it lets go. Within us are two systems that embody this balance. The digestive system, which draws nourishment from the outer world, and the excretory system, which carries away what is no longer needed. Together, they form a partnership of intake and release, of transformation and cleansing. Their quiet cooperation sustains the cycle of energy, ensuring that what enters the body is made useful, and what remains is gently carried away. The digestive system begins at the mouth, where food is taken in and broken down by teeth, tongue, and saliva. From this simple beginning unfolds a long journey. Food passes down the esophagus into the stomach, where strong acids and enzymes break it further into smaller parts. From there, it enters the small intestine, a long, winding tube where absorption takes place. Here, nutrients, sugars, amino acids, fats, vitamins, and minerals are absorbed into the blood and lymph, distributed throughout the body to fuel energy, repair, and growth. The surface of the small intestine is covered with folds and tiny projections called villi, creating an immense area for absorption, as though the lining of the intestine were a vast inner landscape of gathering. Supporting this process are the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. The liver produces bile, stored in the gallbladder, which helps digest fats. The pancreas releases enzymes that break down proteins, carbohydrates, and fats into forms that can be absorbed. The liver also plays another role, filtering blood from the digestive tract, processing nutrients, and removing toxins. It stands at a central crossroads, transforming what is taken in and ensuring that it is safe for use. Once nutrients are absorbed, what remains continues to the large intestine. Here, water is reabsorbed, and the leftover material is compacted into waste. The large intestine is also home to countless microorganisms, the gut microbiota, which assist in breaking down substances and even produce vitamins that the body can use. Finally, the waste is stored in the rectum until released, completing the digestive journey. Parallel to this, the excretory system ensures that wastes from metabolism are removed, while the digestive system handles the remnants of food that could not be absorbed. The excretory system, particularly the kidneys, filters the blood itself, removing byproducts like urea, salts, and excess water. In this way, the two systems complement one another, one managing what is left from intake, the other cleansing what is produced by the body's inner work. Together, they ensure that the inner environment remains clear and balanced. This partnership reflects a profound truth that nourishment cannot exist without release. If the digestive system only absorbed and the excretory system did not remove, the body would soon become overloaded. Likewise, if wastes were released without nutrients being taken in, life could not continue. Balance is found in the cycle: food taken in, transformed into energy, its remnants released. The two systems, different in structure and function, are united in this shared purpose. Their cooperation is also evident in daily rhythms. After eating, digestion begins its quiet work, breaking down nutrients while the excretory system adjusts fluid levels, filtering the blood more actively as new materials enter. As hours pass, wastes are carried away, and the body is restored to balance. This cycle repeats with each meal, a pattern so familiar that it often escapes notice, yet it underlies the stability of life. Beyond function, the digestive and excretory partnership connects us to the world outside. Every bite of food, every sip of water, is part of a larger cycle: plants drawing energy from sunlight, animals grazing or hunting, humans gathering, preparing, and eating. Within the body, this nourishment is transformed, fueling thought, movement, and repair. Then, what remains is released, returning to the earth, where it may once again become part of the cycle of life. This quiet exchange reflects the continuity between the body and its environment, the harmony between inner and outer worlds. To imagine this partnership is to picture a flowing cycle, like a stream that draws water from the hills, carries it through the land, and then returns it to the sea. The digestive system is the intake, the gathering of nourishment. The excretory system is the outflow, the gentle release of what is no longer needed. Together, they sustain the current of life, balancing, giving and taking, receiving, and letting go. Even in sleep, this partnership continues. The digestive system slows but does not stop, continuing to absorb and process. The excretory system remains steady, filtering blood, keeping balance while the body rests. By morning, both systems have carried on their silent tasks, leaving the body renewed and ready to receive again. Perhaps what is most humbling is the simplicity of the principle that guides them. Take what is needed, let go of what is not. This principle, written into the digestive and excretory systems, is one of balance, not only for the body, but also for life as a whole. It is a reminder that renewal comes not from holding everything, but from allowing a flow, a cycle of nourishment and release that keeps harmony intact. The digestive and excretory systems are partners in balance, one offering energy, the other maintaining clarity. They form the cycle of intake and release, the rhythm of transformation and letting go. In their cooperation, the body is sustained, cleansed, and renewed. They are the quiet keepers of life's flow, gentle guardians of balance, ensuring that with every meal, with every moment, the body remains in harmony with itself and with the world beyond. 18. The senses. Gateways of balance. The body is not sealed away from the world around it. It exists within a constant exchange of light, sound, touch, taste, and scent. These streams of information flow inward through the senses, guiding awareness, shaping experience, and protecting balance. The senses are gateways, allowing the body to remain in harmony with its surroundings, adjusting to changes, responding to needs, and finding stability in a world that is always shifting. There are 5 traditional senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Each one provides a distinct form of knowledge, carried inward and translated into signals that the nervous system can understand. Together, they form a chorus of perception, overlapping and complementing one another, ensuring that no single detail is missed. They are not only tools of awareness, but also guardians of balance, helping the body navigate safely and smoothly through life. Sight begins with light. Rays enter the eye through the cornea, pass through the lens, and fall upon the retina at the back. Here, specialized cells called rods and cones translate light into electrical signals. Rods are sensitive to dimness and motion, while cones detect colors and detail. The signals they create travel along the optic nerve to the brain, where they are assembled into the image of the world. This process unfolds without effort, allowing the body to adjust to light and darkness, to navigate space, and to find orientation in its environment. Through vision, balance is supported not only by awareness of the outer world, but also by subtle cues: the position of the horizon, the recognition of movement, the play of shadows that guide each step. Hearing is the sense of vibration, carried by waves of air. Sound enters the ear, traveling through the canal until it strikes the eardrum, setting it into motion. Tiny bones within the middle ear amplify these vibrations and pass them to the cochlea, a spiral-shaped structure filled with fluid and lined with hair cells. As the fluid moves, these cells bend, creating signals that travel to the brain through the auditory nerve. The brain interprets them as tones, rhythms, and voices. Hearing does more than allow appreciation of music or speech. It provides orientation, warning, and connection. It helps the body remain balanced by detecting movement, as the inner ear also houses the vestibular system, which senses motion and position, guiding posture and stability. Touch is perhaps the most immediate of the senses, spread across the entire surface of the body. Within the skin lie receptors for pressure, vibration, texture, heat, cold, and pain. These receptors allow the body to respond to its environment in ways both protective and comforting. Touch guides movements, warns of danger, and conveys warmth. It is also deeply tied to connection, as gentle contact communicates reassurance and presence. Touch, though often overlooked, is a sense that keeps the body constantly in dialogue with the world, ensuring safety and stability with every step, every motion, every embrace. Taste is the sense of the mouth, guiding nourishment. On the tongue are clusters of taste buds, each containing receptor cells that detect different qualities: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami, the savory flavor of proteins. These signals travel to the brain, shaping preferences and guiding choices. Taste helps ensure that the body receives what it needs and avoids what may be harmful. Its close connection with smell deepens its richness, for much of what is called flavor is a union of both senses. Smell, too, is a gateway of balance, rooted in the nose. Molecules carried by air bind to receptors in the olfactory epithelium, a specialized tissue high within the nasal cavity. These receptors send signals directly to the brain, forming the perception of scent. Smell is subtle yet powerful, influencing memory, emotion, and even physiology. It alerts to danger, the scent of smoke or spoilage, and enhances enjoyment of nourishment and environment. In this way, it too is part of balance, linking outer world and inner state. Together, The senses do more than perceive. They integrate. Vision, hearing, and touch combine to guide balance as the body moves through space. Taste and smell combine to shape appetite and protect health. Even within sleep, some senses remain gently alert, ensuring safety and stillness. The senses are not separate, but woven together into a single tapestry of awareness, each one contributing threads to the whole. Beyond the five traditional senses, the body holds others: a sense of balance through the vestibular system, a sense of position through proprioceptors in muscles and joints, a sense of internal state through receptors that monitor hunger, thirst, and temperature. These inner senses, though less noticed, are equally part of balance, guiding the body's adjustments moment by moment. To imagine the senses is to picture a series of open gates, each one allowing a different kind of light, sound, touch, taste, or scent to enter. They are like windows in a quiet house, each framing part of the world, each bringing in something different. Within, the nervous system weaves these inputs into a seamless whole, creating awareness, guiding action, and sustaining harmony. The senses are gateways of balance not only in function but in experience. They link the body to its environment, ensuring that it is never separate, never isolated. Through them, the world flows inward, and through response, the body flows outward. This reciprocity keeps life attuned, steady within change, balanced within motion. The senses are the quiet guardians of perception, open yet selective, constant yet unobtrusive. They are the pathways through which balance is maintained, the bridges between self and world. In their harmony lies the possibility of safe movement, of nourishment, of connection. They are the body's gentle windows, always open, always guiding, always sustaining the steady rhythm of balance. 19. Balance in sleep. Nighttime physiology. When the day draws to a close and the body sinks into rest, balance does not stop. The quiet hours of sleep are not a pause in life, but a time of profound activity, where systems shift into slower rhythms, repairing, restoring, and renewing. Sleep is as essential to balance as breath or heartbeat, for within it the body finds the chance to restore harmony, adjusting what has been worn down, preparing for the next day. The beginning of sleep is marked by a soft transition. The senses quieten, the muscles relax, and the nervous system guides the body into stillness. Yet within this stillness lies an intricate pattern. Sleep is not uniform but moves in cycles, each lasting about 90 minutes, repeating throughout the night. These cycles alternate between non-rapid eye movement sleep, or NREM, and rapid eye movement sleep, or REM. Each stage has its own purpose, each one contributing to the balance of mind and body. NREM sleep unfolds in 3 stages. The first is light, a drifting between wake and slumber, where the heartbeat slows and breathing deepens. The second stage carries the body further inward, with brain waves slowing and body temperature dropping. The third stage is deep sleep, also called slow wave sleep, where the body finds its greatest restoration. In this stage, growth hormone is released, tissues are repaired, and energy stores are replenished. Muscles relax, the immune system strengthens, and the body renews itself in quiet stillness. This is the sleep of repair, the foundation of physical balance. REM sleep is different. Here, the brain becomes more active, approaching patterns seen in wakefulness, yet the body remains still, the muscles relaxed by protective mechanisms. It is in REM sleep that vivid dreams often occur, and it is also here that the mind restores itself. Memories are consolidated, emotions are processed, and learning is integrated. REM sleep does not repair the muscles or bones, but the mind itself, ensuring that balance is not only physical, but also mental and emotional. Together, NREM and REM sleep form a cycle of renewal, alternating through the night. One restores the body, the other restores the mind. Without both, balance is incomplete. Just as the body needs oxygen and nutrients, it needs the deep, rhythmic patterns of sleep, for they are as vital to survival as any system of physiology. During sleep, other systems shift their rhythms. The heart beats more slowly, reducing strain and conserving energy. Breathing becomes deeper and steadier, ensuring oxygen supply while supporting calmness. Blood pressure falls, giving the vessels time to rest. The digestive system slows, conserving energy for renewal. The immune system becomes more active, producing and releasing cells that defend against illness. Even the skin benefits, as cell turnover increases, allowing repair from the day's exposure. Every system adjusts, each one taking part in the quiet work of restoration. Hormones play a guiding role in these nighttime processes. Melatonin, released by the pineal gland in response to darkness, signals the body to prepare for rest. Growth hormone, released during deep sleep, supports repair of tissues and growth in children. Cortisol, which rises toward morning, helps prepare the body to wake. These hormonal rhythms align with sleep cycles, ensuring that renewal follows a natural order. They show that sleep is not an interruption of physiology, but one of its most carefully orchestrated states. Sleep also reflects the connection between the body and its environment. The rhythm of day and night, of light and dark, guides the circadian clock within the brain. This clock, located in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sets the timing of sleep and wake, aligning the body with the world outside. When light fades, melatonin rises and sleep begins. When light returns, melatonin falls and wakefulness returns. In this way, the body is kept in harmony with the turning of the earth, with the cycles of nature. To imagine the physiology of sleep is to picture a great orchestra shifting into a softer movement. The instruments do not fall silent but change their tone, each one contributing to a quieter, restorative piece. The heartbeat slows, the breath deepens, the hormones rise and fall, the cells renew. It is a symphony of repair and restoration, conducted in silence, heard only in the renewal it brings upon waking. Perhaps what is most humbling about sleep is how completely it is beyond conscious control. One cannot will oneself to repair tissues, to strengthen immunity, to consolidate memories. These things happen only in the stillness of sleep, given freely by the body when it is allowed to rest. Sleep is not a luxury but a necessity. As vital as water or air, its absence quickly unbalancing the systems that depend upon it. Sleep is balance in motion, quiet yet powerful. It is the hidden half of life, where the body restores what has been worn and prepares for what will come. It is both physical and mental renewal, both bodily repair and emotional restoration. It is the quiet guardian of health, the unseen companion of every day, ensuring that when the sun rises again, the body and mind are ready to meet it. The physiology of sleep is the physiology of balance. In its cycles of depth and dreaming, in its rhythms of hormone and repair, it holds the body steady, returning it to harmony again and again. In this way, sleep is not separate from life but part of its essence, the gentle night that makes the day possible, the stillness that sustains the motion, the quiet renewal that carries balance forward. 20. A gentle closing. The inner symphony. Within the human body, balance is not the work of one part alone, but the harmony of many, each system contributing its own rhythm, its own voice. The nervous system sends its quick signals, the endocrine system its slow and lasting messengers. The heart sends blood coursing through the vessels, while the lungs breathe in air and release what is no longer needed. The digestive system takes in nourishment. The excretory system carries away waste. Muscles move, bones support, skin protects, and the senses connect us to the world beyond. Each system is a single instrument, and together they form an orchestra, playing softly and unceasingly, sustaining the symphony of life. This inner symphony is not loud or dramatic. Its music is quiet, unfolding in steady rhythms and gentle changes. A heartbeat is a percussion, constant and reliable. The breath is a wind instrument, rising and falling with each measure. Hormones are the strings, slower and resonant, carrying themes that stretch across time. The senses are the subtle notes of melody, weaving the outer world into the inner flow. Together, they create a music that is not heard with the ears, but felt in the steady presence of life itself. What makes this symphony remarkable is its seamlessness. One instrument does not overpower the others. Instead, they blend, adjusting to one another in a living balance. When the body moves, the muscles demand more oxygen, and the heart and lungs respond, quickening their pace. When food is taken in, digestion begins, and the blood carries nutrients, while the kidneys adjust fluids to maintain stability. When stress arises, the nervous system signals, the adrenal glands release, and the body adapts. Each system listens to the others, responding, supporting, and returning balance again and again. Even in sleep, the music continues. The tempo slows, but the melody does not cease. Heartbeat, breath, and hormone rise and fall in new patterns, suited to restoration. The mind drifts through its own cycles, memory weaving into dreams, emotions settling into calm. The body repairs tissues, strengthens defenses, and prepares for the next day. The symphony plays on, quiet but unbroken, carrying life through the night and into the dawn. To imagine this inner harmony is to picture an orchestra playing within, each instrument tuned, each rhythm aligned. There are no solos, no instruments seeking attention. There is only balance, a continuous weaving of sounds into a whole. It is not music for performance, but music for being, a symphony that plays not outwardly but inwardly, sustaining the gentle flow of life. The metaphor of an orchestra also reflects the truth that the body is not simply parts joined together, but a whole, greater than its pieces. Each system could be described in isolation, yet none could sustain life alone. It is their cooperation, their dialogue, their constant exchange that creates vitality. Balance is not a fixed state but a dynamic process, a music always adjusting, always flowing. Perhaps what is most humbling is that this inner symphony plays without our conscious direction. We do not conduct it, yet it is always performed. We do not order the heart to beat, the lungs to draw breath, the kidneys to filter, or the senses to perceive. These rhythms unfold on their own, quietly and faithfully, carrying us from moment to moment. Life is not something we control, but something given, sustained by this hidden music. The symphony of balance is also timeless. It has been shaped over ages by evolution, refined by countless generations of life adapting to the world. The instruments themselves, the lungs, the heart, the kidneys, the senses, are the result of long shaping, each one perfected to play its part. In this way, the music within each body is not new but ancient, an echo of life carried forward through time. As the lecture draws to its close, one can rest in the awareness that the body itself is an orchestra always at play. There is no need to listen closely to each instrument, no need to follow every rhythm. It is enough to know that the music continues, that balance is maintained, that the quiet symphony of physiology is always unfolding. The body is balance in motion, harmony made flesh. Its systems are not separate but interwoven, not isolated but in dialogue. In their cooperation lies the foundation of life, a music that sustains without pause, from the first breath to the last. It is a music both simple and profound, both hidden and ever-present. It is the inner symphony, the gentle harmony of body systems in balance, and as the music continues quietly within, so too may rest deepen, carried by the knowledge that this harmony never ceases. The body's orchestra plays on, softly, steadily, always in tune with life, always sustaining balance in silence.